Hello everyone, welcome to Tarvos. Today we are going to see some of the questions related to soil science and agricultural chemistry asked in 2025 AO examination. Let's move on to the questions. Element that plays an important role in the stability of the protein structure is. The correct answer is option A, sulfur. Here in the image you can see the two sulfur atoms are joining to form a covalent disulfide bridge. This bridge is helping to lock the two distant parts of the protein chain together. This is preserving the folded 3D structure of the protein. While phosphorus is the constituent of ADP or ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell, nucleic acid, phospholipids, etc. So think of as a genetic material or a energy transfer. Next one is iron, which is a constituent of ferredoxin, cytochromes, heme protein. So think of a electron carrier. While manganese, it activates several enzymes and act as a direct cofactor of photosystem too. So the answer is sulfur. The second question is, in which deficiency yellowing starts from the tip or the margin of the leaf and extend towards the center of the leaf base? The correct answer is option C, potassium. In the image you can see, in the healthy green leaf, due to the potassium deficiency, there is an onset of chlorosis. And this chlorosis is starting at the margin of the leaf or the tip of the leaf and extending towards the base, that is center of the leaf. And in case of severe deficiency, the chlorosis will be advanced to necrosis. Necrosis is nothing but the death of the tissues. And in case of zinc deficiency, there is a intervenal fluorosis and shortened internodes. And in case of boron deficiency, it affects the terminal growing tips. And this causes the death of the apical buds. And it will also cause hollow heart. And in case of phosphorus deficiency, the older leaves will be affected by dark green coloration or purple coloration or bronze coloration. We may also observe marginal necrosis. And in case of deficiency symptoms, we have to know where the symptom will appear. This is controlled by plant nutrient mobility. Based on this factor, the plant nutrients are classified into three categories. First one is highly mobile. In this case, when the plants are not supplied with adequate amount of nutrient, these nutrients will be translocated from roots to tips of the plant, that is young growing tip of the plant. So the symptom will be appearing on the older leaf or the older part of the plant. In case of immobile nutrients, these nutrients will not be translocated, so the symptom will be appearing on the younger part of the leaf. And in case of moderately mobile nutrients like zinc, they move slowly in the plant and the symptom may also appear in the young or recent part of the plants. The third question is, water as a sole nourishment for plants was proposed by? The correct answer is option E, Van Helmont. Van Helmont is a scientist and he did a small experiment. He planted a small willow in a known mass of dry soil and supplied only water. After 5 years, he observed that the tree had gained a large mass, while the soil mass has changed only very little. From this observation, he concluded that new plant material was only due to the water. But this conclusion was incomplete because most plant dry matter carbon comes from the atmospheric carbon dioxide, and also the plant will also require mineral nutrients. But Van Helmont did not account these sources properly. And coming to the Glauber, he emphasized potassium nitrate as a sole constituent of plant nourishment. Potassium nitrate is called a saltpeter. And Boussingault, he used precise field plot techniques and chemical balance sheet to show that the plant absorbs mineral nutrients. And these also clarified the role of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and mineral absorption in the plant. Fourth question is, concentrated organic manure includes. The correct answer is option D, only A and B. That is oil cake and blood meal. Let's see about concentrated organic manures versus bulky organic manure. Bulky manure has low nutrient concentration per unit mass. That is, you will need tons of weight to get a few kilogram kilograms of actual plant proteins. For example, FYM, compost, green manures, etc. In case of concentrated organic manures, they have high nutrient concentration per unit mass. So a small bag will be enough to get a large amount of plant nutrients. For example, all the cakes and meals. Cakes are of plant origin. Example, mustard cake, groundnut cake, castor cake, neem cake, etc. Meals are of animal origin like bone meal, blood meal, horn meal, meat meal, fish meal, etc. Guano also comes under the animal origin, that is concentrated organic manure. It is nothing but the bird excreta and dead bodies. So the answer is both oil cake and blood meal. The next question is identify the incorrect statement with respect to green manure crop. Statement 1, little water requirement, 2, fibrous root system, 3, high non-fibrous tissue, 4 should be a legume. The correct answer is option B, statement 2 alone is incorrect. Why do we use green manure crop in the field? To naturally improve the soil fertility and soil structure, and also it suppresses the weeds. So we have to look into the features of the plant which helps to achieve those goals. So first one is low water requirement is preferred because the green manure crop should not exhaust the present soil moisture, right? Next one is non-fibrous and succulent shoot tissues are preferred because it decomposes rapidly after the incorporation. And third, the legume crop is preferred because the symbiotic bacteria can fix the atmospheric nitrogen which add the direct fertility to the soil profile. And in case of root system, instead of shallow fibrous root system, a deep taproot system is preferred because the taproot system can explore the subsoil and recycle the nutrients to the surface and also opens the channels through the compact layers. So the green manure should have a deep root, soft shoot, and low water requirement, and it should preferably be a legume. Next question is the stem-nodulating green manure plant species is. The correct answer is option A, Cisbania rostrata. The Cisbania rostrata forms nodules in both root and stem by association with unique stem-nodulating strain called Azorhizobium collinodens. In case of submergence or hypoxic condition, the root nodules will become inactive. In those situations, the stem nodules will do the job. And in case of Cisbania speciosa and Cisbania aculate, both are root nodulating green manure. And Cisbania grandiflora is a perennial leguminous tree species, and it is used as a green leaf manuring, and also it is a high quality animal fodder. The next question is infiltration uniformity is increased and deep percolation is reduced in case of which irrigation? The correct answer is option B, surge irrigation. In surge irrigation, the water is delivered in on-off cycle. In the first on period, the water will wet the upper part of the furrow, and during the off period, the water is cut off and the wetted surface settles and the intake will reduce. And during the next pulse, that is the next on period, the water will more advance more rapidly across the previously wetted section and reaches farther down the furrow. And as the time advance time is reducing here, the infiltration rate will be more uniform. And due to the on off period, the less water will move down, that is down the effective root zone. So the percolation loss is also reduced. And in case of cablegation, there is a gated pipe and a plug, and there is also a braking wheel. So when we switch on the irrigation, the water will enter into the pipe and pushes the cable down, that is far towards the down the slope, and the braking wheel will slowly unroll and the cable will regulate the plug speed. And as the plug moves, the water backs up and directly behind it and spills out the open gates. And once the plug passes the gate, the water level downstream falls and automatically shifting the water supply to the next set of furrows. And the other options, wide space or alternating furrow method, can save the water. And every furrow method is a conventional irrigation, and both of these does not cause uniform infiltration and it will not reduce the deep percolation. The next question is, which of the following elements is a constituent of a chlorophyll? The correct answer is option C, magnesium. Here you can see the structure of a chlorophyll. The chlorophyll contains porphyrin-like ring with 4 nitrogen atoms in the center, directed towards the center, and there is a magnesium ion that is coordinated by those 4 nitrogen atoms. So magnesium is a true structural constituent of a chlorophyll, not just simply a enzyme cofactor. While all other 3 options are also involved in the photosynthesis, but not as a direct structural component. The iron act as a catalyst in the biosynthesis of chlorophyll, and it is also present in the heme enzyme. So it helps in the electron transfer and not as a structural element. And manganese, we saw earlier, it helps in the photosystem system too. And in case of copper, it is a constituent of a plastocyanin. It is a essential copper containing protein. It is helping in the electron transport chain of the chloroplast photosynthesis. Next question is, dash is a highly salt tolerant crop. The correct answer is option A, sugar beet. In case of salinity, the salinity will lower the soil water potential and creates the ion toxicity, because this salinity will affect the water uptake and ionic balances in the plant. A tolerant crop will maintain the water uptake and regulate the sodium and chloride and protects the potassium balance and continue its growth even during the EC, where the sensitive crop will drop its yield. So this is called as salt tolerant crop. And the example for highly salt tolerant crop is a sugar beet, cotton, barley, etc. And date palm is also an important crop, while moderately tolerant is wheat, soybeans, etc. And moderately sensitive crop is maize, sorghum, groundnut, alfalfa, and highly sensitive crop is rice, beans, onion, and citrus crop. Especially in case of rice, the salinity sensitivity is seen in the establishment and reproductive stages. Question is, map scale used for watershed planning is. The correct answer is option A, 1 is to 10,000. Let's see about what is map scale. That is, 1 centimeter on the map will cover how much centimeter on the ground. That is called as map scale. So in case of 1 is to 10,000, 1 centimeter of the map will cover 10,000 centimeter of the ground. That is equivalent to 100 meters on the ground. So it is a large scale map with high spatial details, and this detail will be suitable for micro level watershed planning. That is field bund, form ponds, check dams, treatment of individual drainage lines, etc. And coming to the other options, 1 is to 50,000 means 1 centimeter on the map will cover 500 meters on the ground, and it is used as a district level inventory. It is a median scale map. And in case of 1 is to 1 lakh, 1 centimeter on the map will cover 1 kilometer on the ground. So it is used for state level policy formulations. And in case of 1 is to 2,50,000, 1 centimeter of on the map will cover 2.5 kilometer on the ground area. It will be useful for the regional level macro studies. So don't confuse with the large scale and large denominator. Both are different. In case of denominator, as the denominator increases, the detailing will decrease. So the large scale map means the denominator will be less. The next question is, soils having an EC of more than 4 decicemol per meter and ESP of more than 15% are classified as. The correct answer is option B, saline-sodic soil. To classify the salt affected soil, we use 3 parameters: EC, ESP, and pH. EC is nothing but soluble salt content, and ESP is nothing but exchangeable sodium percentage in the, that is the sodium content in the exchangeable complex of the soil, and pH is nothing but the acidity and alkalinity of the soil. A normal soil will have EC of less than 4 decicemol per meter and ESP of less than 15% and pH of 6.5 to 7.5. When the EC is increasing, that is more than 4 decicemol per meter, the salinity of the soil will increase. But ESP and pH will be less than the threshold level. And when the ESP will increase, that is more than 15 percentage, the sodicity of the soil will increase. And along with the sodicity, the alkalinity will also increase because the sodium will react with the water and it will increase the alkalinity of the soil. That is, pH will increase more than 8.5. And in case of saline-sodic soil, EC will be more than 4 and ESB will be more than 15, but pH will be less than 8.5 because the higher salt content will suppress the effect of sodium and it will keep the pH under check. But under the event of leaching, the uh, salt content will get leached, and as the sodium dominates, the pH will increase more than 8.5. And coming to the catalase, it is called as acid sulfate soil. It is unrelated. The catalase are acid problem, while other three options are salt problem. Next question is assertion and reason question. Assertion: soil structure is described under three categories. Reason: soil structure is described by shape and arrangement, size, and degree of distinctness and durability of the beds. The correct answer is option A, both are true. Let's study about soil structure. In soil, there are two types of particles: primary particles and secondary particles. Primary particles are nothing but sand, silt, and clay. In nature, these primary particles do not exist such as clay, sand, silt, like that. They bond together and form a larger unit or aggregate. These aggregates are called as secondary particles. And the soil structure is defined as the arrangement of these primary and secondary particles in a certain pattern. So the soil structure is described in three attributes: type, class, and grade. Type is nothing but shape and arrangement. That is, the primary and secondary particle arrange and form a shape, certain shape, like platy or blocky or granular or prismatic. And the second attribute is class. There are five classes: very fine, moderately fine, coarse, and very coarse. And this is nothing but the size of the pit. And the third attribute is grade. This is called as distinctness or durability. This is nothing but the resistant to the disruption by the impact of any factor like raindrop or submerged condition, etc. And there are three types: weak, moderate, and strong. And to describe the soil structure, we use a sequence that is from the backward, like grade, class, and type. For example, a strong, coarse, granular structure, or a weak, very fine, platy structure, like that. And from the agricultural point of view, the spheroidal type, that is the crumb subtype, that structure is most desirable one. This question is also related to the soil structure and assertion and reason question. Assertion: classes of the soil structure indicate the degree of distinctness and durability of the individual beds. Reason: each primary structural type of soil is differentiated into five classes. The correct answer is option D. A is false and R is true. We saw in the earlier slide that degree of distinctness and durability is nothing but the grade, not the class. While the class is based on the size of the pit. That is, five classes: very fine, medium, coarse, and very coarse. And grade is three types: weak, moderate, and strong. And why the reason is correct, each primary structural type of soil is differentiated into five classes. Yeah, that is true. The next question is: match the deficiency symptom with its nutrient. Uh, Blossom end rot, gray speck, white bud, and dieback. The correct answer is option C. Let's see. First one is blossom end rot. It is caused by calcium deficiency because inadequate calcium is reaching the rapidly growing fruit end. That's why there is a necrosis in the end of the fruit. And the gray speck is caused by manganese deficiency. Uh, uh, and the white bud is caused by zinc deficiency, and dieback is caused by the copper deficiency. The next question is: percentage pore space is given by 100 minus percentage solid space, 100 minus bulk density by particle density into 100, 100 into 1 minus bulk density by particle density, 100 minus particle density. The correct answer is statement 1, 2, and 3 are correct. Let's see something basic. In the whole volume of soil, there are two types of spaces: pore space and solid space. Pore solid space is nothing but the mineral portion of the soil. Pore space is nothing but the space that are not occupied by the mineral space. So they may be occupied either by air or water. So when we add these percentages, that is both pore space and solid space, we get 100 percentages. So the first option is direct formula, that is porosity is equal to 100 minus percentage solid space. The second and third formula include bulk density and particle density. Bulk density is nothing but the mass per unit volume of the dry soil. It includes both solid space and pore spaces. That is why it is called as bulk density. And the second one is particle density. Particle density is nothing but mass per unit volume of soil solids alone. So the porosity formula is 100 minus bulk density by particle density into 100. And when we factor out this 100 and this 100, we get a formula of 100 into 1 minus bulk density into by particle density. So these three are correct. And coming to the fourth option, 100 is a percentage and particle density is a which contains the unit of mass per volume. So unlike quantities cannot be subtracted. So this fourth option is not correct. Quickly, nutrient roles: sulfur forms the disulfide bridges that stabilize the protein, and magnesium is the central atom of the chlorophyll. Magnesium forms the middle of the green molecule. Green molecule is called as chlorophyll. And mobility and symptoms: potassium is mobile and deficiency will cause tips and margin to scotch of the older leaves, and calcium is blossom and rot, and manganese gray speck. For to memorize, man is wearing a gray spectacles, and zinc, white bud, copper, dieback. And coming to organic manures and green manuring, oil cake and blood meals are concentrated one. They have low nutrient concent. Sorry, they have higher nutrient concentration in the low unit mass. And ideal green manure has deep taproot system, low water requirement, preferably to be a legume, and it should have a non-fibrous tissue so that the decomposition will be easier. And Sesbania rostrata is a stem and root nodulating green manure crop due to the association of azorhizodium colinodans. And water planning, surge irrigation is a on-off pulses which will give uniform infiltration and reduce the deep water percolation loss. And coming to the planning, 1 is to 10,000 map will be useful in the micro level planning. And you have to remember that when the denominator increases, the scale of the map will be decreasing. That is, when the denominator is less, it is a very detailed mapping. So it is called as large scale mapping, which is used in the micro level planning. When the denominator increases to 50,000, 1 lakh or 2.5 lakh, the scale will be decreasing and it will be used for the higher level of planning, like state level, region level, national level planning. And the salt affected soil will have more than with will I mean the saline soil will have more than 4 EC, and sodic soil will have more than 15 ESP, and the saline sodic soil will have both EC and ESP more than the threshold level, but the pH will be less than 8.5 unless the leaching is done. When the leaching is done, the salt content will be leached and the sodium will be dominating and the pH will increase. And the sugar beet, barley, cotton, or the and date palm is also a highly salt tolerant crop. And coming to the physical properties, soil structure has three attributes: type, class, and grade. Type is nothing but shape and arrangement. Class is nothing but size of the bed, and grade is the distinctness and durability of the bed. And while explaining the structure, we have to use the sequence grade, class, and type. This is an important question. And coming to the porosity equation is nothing but 100 into 1 minus bulk density by particle density.